Well, our moms think we're funny.
Oh, is that like Leonard Nimoy with huge ears?
He looks like Uncle Creepy from Creepy Magazine.
It looks like a knockoff of Wayne Newton and Leonard Nimoy. Like I want their B movie equivalents. I'm sorry for people that don't know what we're talking about. Hey, it's Turk182.
And I'm Acomi. What's up, everybody?
So, hey, welcome to our podcast. I don't really need to. I can't. There's no point in me saying as usual because anyway. So right now we have in the background where we're doing our podcast the movie Sugar Hill, not the really cool movie Sugar Hill with Ernie Hudson and Abe Vigoda and Wesley Snipes. This is a 1974 movie that's on Comet called Sugar Hill. It says Baron Samedi summons the undead with voodoo to help a woman fight killer gangsters. And we just saw the undead, so the zombies that were summoned by voodoo, and they were covered in cobwebs for some reason. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I guess you wouldn't dust your zombies off before, it's like, oh, brought back to life. Let's get you guys all cleaned up there, and But anyways, there's this scene there with these two guys there, and of course it's in the 70s, so everyone just looks all 70s cheesy. And I tell you, the afros in this movie are huge.
Incredible.
All the black guys look like they're wearing like the helmets from Spaceballs.
And this guy has his tie tucked into his pants, because that's a good look.
Oh, look at how wide that knot is, too.
Oh yeah, it's a really wide tie. And is she attractive? I can't tell. The screen's too grainy.
I was going to say, dude, that thing is shot through so much haze.
Yeah, this is... Like, they basically, like, their film reel was just pure fuzz.
Oh my god, look at that furniture. the pattern, this, like, weird black and white and gray stripe pattern. And then, the pillows he has on the sofa are blue and yellow. They don't match anything.
Not at all. Wow, that was a fake smile.
Oh, yeah,
anyway, this is not a Let's Watch.
No, it's not, but oh my goodness, this is so horrible. This is bad. And I think my mom used to own that sofa. I'm just saying.
I actually like that pattern, that like white to black gradient. That's cool. It actually makes it look 3D-ish, but it's not.
Okay, so the woman that he's talking with, the one that's like shot through the haze, why is she so shiny? Her face is just super shiny.
She is very shiny.
She's reflecting everything in that room.
She is incredibly shiny.
So
you gave me those Japanese nudie magazines, which I believe one of those was like Picasso magazine, Dr. Picasso magazine.
Those were Japanese culture magazines.
Oh, culture magazines, yeah.
Japanese
there was a lot of nudity
magazines.
in them for being culture magazines.
Okay, I'm going to say this, right? First off, there wasn't a lot of nudity in those magazines, because those magazines were at least 300 pages, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So there was, and I think like 5% of that had some nudity in it.
That's fair, okay. I mean, it's not like they were like the equivalent of Playboys or anything, but yeah, there was a good portion of nudity in them. But I bring it up because there was a section on adult videos in one of them that was dedicated to fetish stuff. So like there was leather, there was chicks painted gold.
I love gold.
There was what was it called, like Wet and Messy, where they were like either covered in paint or mud. That was kind of gross. There's a section of videos dedicated to women with their heads shaved. And my favorite, because this is Japanese and they wrote it in not the best English, it was Giamtism.
Giamtism.
Yeah, with an M instead of an N. So that was pretty funny. And they had the movie poster for Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
Giamtism.
Giamtism. So...
Next time I go to Jersey Mike's, one can say, how do you want that? Do you want that regular or Giam? I'll take the Giam.
It made me happy. That brought a big smile to my face. And the other one, which, I mean, these titles are in Japanese, so I don't know the titles specifically, but the other one that had, like, fewer issues, every time they were introducing, like, their cover model or whatever, or just their model for the month, they would always do some kind of weird-ass poem, but they would write it out in English. I love those things. I would get a collection of those poems because it's just like, Behold, Earth Angel. She smile, make smile me. I love her and will love her long time. Earth Angel. It's like so good.
Oh, that is fantastic.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to like transcribe those and actually like read those things on the podcast. They're great.
So I got those back when I used to work at a comic book store, and they were advertised in like previews in the Japanese section. It's like, here's Japanese magazines. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm thinking like they're gonna have like Gundams and shit in them too, right? Which they do.
Yeah,
but
they always have a video game section.
But there's very little, like, there'll be like a page filled with nothing but Japanese text and like all these little boxes. I'm like, it's so much stuff on a page. I'm like, I don't understand. And then, of course, the magazine's 200 pages long, so
Oh yeah.
like, you cram so much stuff in here. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do.
And it's funny because there'll be like pages and pages and pages of photographs, and then there'll be like a 2-page section reviewing like that month's release of video games. So I saw that they had an article written up of like Virtua Fighter 98. and then there'll be like a section on like anime and manga with like at the back of that section there's like hentai. It's great. Those magazines are so entertaining.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
But yeah, no, we have to do a live reading of some of those poems because those are incredible.
So, what are we talking about today?
So today we are going to talk about reboots. We've come across and seen a lot of franchises being rebooted over the years, and our discussion recently has been, what would happen if you needed to reboot a franchise? If just like the president of Hollywood or whatever just hit you up and was like, "Hey, here's your franchise. Shit, I don't know. Just like take your pick." I'm totally blanking on a franchise because I don't watch a lot of movies. The Conjuring. You're like, let's say you were.
Think more zombies would cover it in some cobwebs.
Yeah, because they haven't been moving much lately. I like those eyes. They're gonna feed them to pigs. That's awesome. Look at those drawn-on muscles.
I was gonna mention that.
Jeez, we should be doing a Let's Watch of this. But yeah, so like, let's just say like a franchise guy just hit you up and was like, "Hey, I've chosen you to reboot The Conjuring," or something like that.
Okay.
And I don't have a specific franchise in mind for you right now. I'm sure you probably don't have one for me right at the moment, but I figured we could just come up with one, throw it at each other, see what you come up with on the fly.
So I will say this: I'm not really big into reboots. I do understand that some movies have to have like a reboot or a restart or something like that, because like I think I bring this up all the time when I talk about them, but the original Lethal Weapon, the first Lethal Weapon movie, it really is a very dated movie because there's a part where Danny Glover's character goes to make a phone call, and he stops the car and he goes to call Mel Gibson's psychiatrist. In the movie, not his actual psychiatrist, where he's like running, sugar tits, and he's like, whoa, I don't think this guy should be on the force. And he gets out of the car.
Jews, am I right? Jews!
You know what I'm talking about, brother? And it's like, whoa.
Whoa, racist ass Billy Gibbons.
It's like, maybe we can have you deported back to Australia. So take Rebel Wilson with you.
God, please do.
Well, you know who you have to blame for that, right?
No.
You don't?
Nah.
Really?
Really? Yeah, I don't keep up with that stuff, man.
So Rebel Wilson kind of got her start by winning a talent scholarship kind of like intern program thing that was I'm trying to think of her name now. That was put on by Tom Cruise's ex-wife, Nicole Kidman.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I like Nicole Kidman.
Yeah. So and her Australian husband that sings country music. How does that work? I mean, does he sing songs about like roping kangaroos and stuff and like dingoes eating babies? I mean, what does he?
I would pay good money to hear a country song about that.
Is he like singing songs about building a wall to keep the Aborigines out? I mean, what is he?
I said, I'll pay for the wall, Mr. President.
Let's put another shrimp on the Barbie. And it's
keep them dingoes in and them Aborigines out.
And his number one seller, that's not a knife. You're coming at me with a whole bunch of strife, but look at that boy, that ain't knife. Oh my goodness.
His first album would just be called Drop Bear.
I come from a land of killers and liars. We were nothing more than an island of prisons. And
that almost sounds more like an Irish shanty.
And then someone said, "Hey, we need people for America."
Oh, Lord.
But unlike those ninjas, you get to ride on up top. I don't know where I'm going with this. Damn you, Rebel Wilson, Jonah Hill. Wow.
Oh, man.
Anyway.
So reboots. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of reboots either. Like, I've seen some remakes that I really like the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Right.
I think that's really good.
I was making a point about Lethal Weapon and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So Danny never gets out of the car, but he has an old, like, 1980s cell phone.
Right.
Which is like that big kind of like, not the Zach Morris brick, but it's like a little slimmer.
Right.
But it has one of those big, like, curly Q pigtail cords. And he has what looks like a military ammo box, right? That's actually the battery to the phone. And he gets out of the car carrying the battery in one hand and with the phone in the other to make the call.
I really want a phone like that.
And I'm like, yeah. People watching that movie nowadays be like, what the fuck is that? It's like, holy shit, has he got a bomb? He's going to blow up Mel Gibson? It's like, no, it's a cell phone back from 82 when people were like, it's like, oh, it's like the tricorder of the future, So in some cases like that, I'm like, yeah, they have to be kind of updated or something.
Right.
But you don't want to reboot the thing just for that. That's one small thing.
Yeah.
In the movie.
But I'm also not a fan of like taking the E.T. approach, and it's like they all have walkie-talkies now, guns. What?
But I will say this, he did put that back.
Yeah, which I'm glad he did. But that's because he also realized that's really not the best approach to things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's okay for stuff to be dated in a lot of ways. So I mean, it's interesting to approach this challenge of supposing you had to reboot a franchise, and like because neither of us really are fans of reboots, so I think it might provide a different insight for us.
Well, I will say this: if you're gonna reboot something or remake it. Or what's the other thing that they say? There's the reboot and the I guess reboot is now the remake. What's that thing that they say like it's a refresh of franchise or whatever? Like the new Shaft that came out. It's not a reboot of. So the Shaft with Sam Jackson was not a reboot of the original Shaft. It was more of like a
as Spike Lee put it. It's a reinterpretation.
No, it's kind of like to re-spark. I forget the word they use. Something like that. Revitalize, rejuvenate.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I just don't know what it's called.
Anyway, and so the Sam Jackson one keeps she's the evil chick that's making the zombies.
That's okay. I do her.
Maybe not now.
Well, not now, but.
Plus, I'm sorry, she's got to get rid of that afro. She's got to. Yeah. You can't run your hands through that. Your shit would get all locked up in there. And I'm not trying to be like racist. I'm just saying. I mean, it's an afro. It's just not how that works, yo. But anyway, it's Sam Jackson is like, oh hey, I'm the son or nephew or whatever of the original Shaft.
Yeah.
But now you've got this new Shaft that came out this year, which just looked bad from the word go. And it's like, oh, now it's his son or whatever that is now coming into the Shaft family line, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. First off, it's been like 10, 15 years since like the Sam Jackson Shaft came out, and like who asked for this, and like who really needs it? That I'm like, no, I don't. Well, yeah. But if you take some movie like The Crazies,
Okay.
the original one, I think it was decent. I've never seen it, but from what I've heard, it was a movie that had potential to be good. It just wasn't. It just wasn't done very well. They didn't kind of use that potential and capitalize on it. So you take that and you say, okay, I am going to, take that and, and really make it what it's supposed to be.
Right,
I'm all for that.
Yeah, especially if it's like the original creative team. I feel okay about that because like I've redrawn comic pages in the past, So I think there's that. Like I remember I actually enjoyed the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. And it's been too long, I don't really remember how it compares to the original, but
whenever I hear that, I always expect to go, The Hills Have Eyes with the sound of music. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's some things that no matter what, you just can't remake, and like it's kind of like you hit this area of stepping into hallowed ground of like I'm not touching that. And even if somebody was like, here's a budget of like, however many million, here's what you stand to make off of doing a remake of this. There's certain areas where it would just be like, I can't do that as a creative personality. I just can't do that. Such as The Wizard of Oz. I mean, people have like reimagined different things from the Wizard of Oz universe, but nobody's ever remade that original first movie because it's too pure, I guess. So you've got people who've like remade stuff like Return to Oz. You have like, how did the wizard originally get into Oz? You have all these different things.
Horrible.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I heard it was bad, but like, people just don't fuck with the original Wizard of Oz because that's just a thing where there'd be rioting in the streets. You would piss off too many people, and there's absolutely no way that you can make enough people happy.
What I think is funny about that is that the original like Oz deviates from the book so much that you don't even have a good interpretation of the book.
Right.
But you can't make one because that version is so classic now. Yeah. You try to do anything else, people would compare, be like, oh no, that's not really. This is more like the book. Well, fuck the book.
Right. Yeah. Like it's just you just don't mess with that. And I feel like a lot of stuff that's done by like more of the independent creator types, like Tarantino or Rodriguez, like I wouldn't be comfortable trying to reinterpret any of their stuff or reboot any of their stuff. So I don't know. Like I really don't know how I would handle a lot of that. Which what I'm hoping here is that you can present some stuff for me to try to reboot, and I'll present some stuff for you to try to reboot. But I came into this really unprepared, and I'm not sure what I want to throw your way first.
Okay.
So
am I actually being like sincere about this, or am I trying to like give you something and be like, hey, I want you to remake North by Northwest and make it better.
That's up to you. I mean, now, granted, I haven't seen something like North by Northwest, so.
But it's Hitchcock though. So I mean, do you really think you can make better on that?
In that case, I wouldn't. You see, you get into iffy stuff because like to maintain a copyright, you have to be at least 40% different from your source material. But something like that, I wouldn't feel right changing too much about Hitchcock's script. I think his scripts hold up really well, but so much of his cinematography is built around the storyboard stage too. So I also don't feel like I could bring too much new to the table with the storyboarding either. But then you also have reboots like the Omen remake, and that was like a shot-for-shot remake. They use the exact same camera angles a huge portion of the time, and they change very, very little about it.
Well, they did the same thing with the remake of Psycho. Mm-hmm. I mean, they actually had the movie, like on set. They had like a TV there, and like, okay, this is what this next scene is going to look like here.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of like how when they did the Lone Wolf and Cub films, they would just use the manga as their storyboards.
My daddy was the greatest samurai ever. He was sorry. Kill Bill's been coming on TV all the time, and so
God, that woman's gonna kill the dog.
The Lone Wolf and Cub is the movie that I got the T-shirt from at the con, and that's the one that Can we watch Shogun Assassin? It's like, no, BB, Shogun Assassin's too long. No, it's not.
Yeah, I like Lone Wolf and Cub, and I like Zatoichi.
Speaking of which, we got Lone Wolf and Cub down there.
Yeah,
I got those mini ones when they were re-releasing them on Dark Horse. They have Frank Miller covers.
Oh, nice! I never knew there was Frank Miller covers, but that's fitting because Ronin.
So
but yeah, so
okay,
shit.
I'm good with that.
Let me think here. I'm just gonna pull something out of my ass here. Just something that's like kind of timeless for me. I'm gonna say that a big shot Hollywood producer has approached you to remake Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mrs. Doubtfire is based off of a novel.
It is. I'm not familiar with the novel though. I never read it.
I'm not either, but I know it's based off of a novel. So
basically, my thought here with this challenge is, as you approach a reboot, what are you going to keep the same from the source material, and what are you going to change or try to make better? Whether it's change for change's sake, or whether it's like, I legitimately can do better on this.
All right. Well, okay. So first off, if I'm gonna remake Mrs. Doubtfire, okay. So let's talk about Aladdin. And the reason I'm gonna talk about Aladdin is I've got to get some context for this. When Disney was like, we're gonna make a live action version of Aladdin, right? And by the way, Disney's making live action versions of everything. Well,
quote unquote, action.
Right? Because Lion King, they're doing Lady and the Tramp. They already have like a teaser trailer off of that.
Fuck me.
Now, I'm already not on board with that whole thing anyway, and it kind of fits in line with it because these aren't reboots.
Right.
They're actually just
they're reinterpretations.
Right. They are. They're not even really loose reinterpretations. They're not even reimaginings. They're
just entirely different things.
To an extent, because they're using the same script and some things and the same songs.
They use the same beats. That's really it.
Right.
They follow the same beat sheet, but that's about it. And yeah, they do utilize the same songs.
I think Lion King is pretty much very, very close to the original movie.
I couldn't bring myself to watch it. It just looks too ugly.
I'm not watching it. But I'm not on board with anything at all. But
this guy's Fat Albert sweater.
Wow, look at those collars in that outfit.
That is just not okay. Where's Rudy?
Oh, look at those cuffs.
Those are awesome.
Oh. So, but I heard that they are doing a quote-unquote live-action version of Lilo and Stitch. And I was like,
what
fuck,
the hell?
Fuck you. No. I love Lilo and Stitch. And I don't need to see some CGI, like, Stitch. Who are you going to get to play, like, Lilo? Who are you going to get to play Nani?
No,
who are you going to
bring
play
in new
David?
talent.
No, you can't.
They've been bringing in new talent for all these things.
And I mean, to me, if you do that, not that I'm going to watch anywhere, still, but Ving Rhames has to play Cobra Bubbles. You can't get anyone else to do that. And plus, he pretty much is that character. I mean, he looks almost like him.
Oh, yeah. He was totally based off of him. Like, in appearance as well.
Right, so... and then the voices are gonna suck.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna find somebody who can do Stitch right. What concerns me is that we're not far from them trying to do a live-action, quote-unquote, remake of Robin Hood.
Oh, God. As if the Cats movie isn't bad enough, man. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, we're just going to have to give the furries legitimacy. Oh, God, it's the darkest-ass bar. Holy shit.
That is a really dark bar. Yeah, no, that's... I totally feel that coming, and holy shit, like, Robin Hood kicked off the furry movement in a lot of ways, and Zootopia kept the furry movement going stronger than ever. We're not far from that, I don't think. I could be wrong. Maybe they'll never remake it, but I see that coming, and I see a lot of people beating meat to Maid Miriam.
Okay, here's the one that I'm just like, ugh, about. Well, no, I should say if they remake. Well, they already remade the Sorcerer's Apprentice, Sword and Stone. I think I'd be okay with the Sword and Stone live action.
It would have to be like, I don't know. That would be a tough one because that one's very near and dear to my heart. I think Merlin is one of the best like wizard designs I've ever seen outside of Ralph Bakshi's wizards, and I think Madame Mim is one of my favorite like villain designs. She's fantastic. I love that character design. So that's a tough one. I've loved Sword in the Stone for a long time.
I guess the reason I say this is because with that there's not as much like animation. I mean, look, what the characters don't exist solely in animation. You can take them and make them live action.
Yeah, because like that's definitely got a very strong cultural presence outside of the film. So I get what you're saying there.
But okay, so let's look at which one am I doing?
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Okay, so I brought up the Aladdin thing because the first thing people said was like, oh, they're going to make a live action version of Aladdin, and after people was like, why? Then the second thing they said was, who's going to play the genie? And they were like, Will Smith. And they were like, no, seriously, who's going to play the genie?
Right.
And they were like, Will Smith. And like,
Snape, how dare you stand where he stood?
So it's like, yeah, no. And that's what I have to think about in that is like, okay, who's going to play, Mrs. Doubtfire?
Right.
Because the first thing people are going to say is, that's not Robin Williams. Mm-hmm. Just like, the genie. That's not Robin Williams. And you're right, it's not Robin Williams.
It's a tough one.
How do I do that and still keep what makes the character entertaining and interesting?
Yeah.
Without trying to like have someone pretend to be Robin Williams, because that's even worse.
Well, it's the same thing we've talked about with the Joker. Is you can't just do that. You can't go into that and be like, oh yeah, that's a great take on Mark Hamill's Jokers. You have to make it your own thing in as big a way as possible.
So, in order for me to do that, I would have to say, okay, who's going to play that role? Because that's going to determine how I'm going to write that movie. Who's going to play that role? Now, it would be interesting to say, oh, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to take that and maybe we're going to change the race. Make it, make it a black family.
Right.
But then that's just Big Mama's house. I mean, really, we've done that before. Oh, Mrs. Doubtfire, look at those little kitties there. Oh, you're going to do your homework for Mrs. Doubtfire, ain't you?
Just picture
boy, you must sit your ass down and do that homework. It's not Martin Lawrence. I mean, oh, my.
Yeah, I'm just picturing Medea. That's, yeah.
It's okay to cross-dress for the Lord, baby child.
That's one of my favorite work memories was calling Medea the cross-dresser for Christ and just seeing my coworker's face fall. Like, oh yeah, that's what he's doing, isn't it?
So I have to figure out like who's gonna play that role.
Yeah,
who's gonna play that role, and how am I gonna do it?
See, I was just spitballing. I didn't mean to give you such a hard one.
Well, I'm saying, then I think that would be, before I could go any further, that would have to be the thing I'd have to tackle is who's gonna be that role, because then I'm gonna write, and there's no guarantee I'm gonna get that person, but at least that helps me shape the character.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking, like, in an idealized world, we would just assume that you could get this character. Yeah.
I got it.
Okay,
so I got it. This is what I would do. So in Mrs. Doubtfire, he is a actor. He's a voice actor, but most voice actors are actors. I mean, because that's really what you're doing. In some cases, you may even say it's harder to act because you're using just your voice and you're expecting them to do all the facial stuff with the character. But I'll let voice actors fight their own battles on that one. So he's an actor. Old thing with his relationship, and he wants to see his kid, so he goes to his brother or cousin or whatever, Harvey Fierstein.
It's his brother, yeah.
Okay, and who does makeup for people who don't know the movie, and they go through a bunch of different like looks for it, and he makes up the makeup and the suit or whatever, and then he's like, "Hello, I'm Mrs. Doubtfire," and everyone's fooled. I think the youngest girl, the youngest daughter, isn't entirely fooled.
No, she's the last to find out.
Is she?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a while since I've seen it. All I just remember is it was like James Bond just wouldn't like.
Poor Robin Williams having to compete against fucking Pierce Brosnan. He doesn't stand a chance. But yeah, no, that...
I'll find out what she's up to, even if I have to sleep with her.
That'll teach her. But yeah, no, that youngest daughter, she was the same girl who played Matilda. She's incredibly talented.
Yeah, she hasn't done anything in a while.
She dropped out of acting. It's there's like articles written on it.
Oh yeah, she took a look at Macaulay Culkin and was like, Nope, I'm just gonna go ahead and stop right now.
Like, her mom died of cancer while she was filming Matilda. Oh. So it was pretty much just like, you know, this was a fun childhood thing, but I'm gonna kind of try to divorce from it. She still does some minor stuff. Like, she did some voice acting on the Welcome to Night Vale podcast, stuff like that, but yeah, she's kind of out of the whole Hollywood scene now.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably kind of frightening for her too, because you know she's making Matilda, and she's like, I can't wait till I grow up and be an adult and I'm big and tall. And she looks over Danny DeVito and Rhea Parma. She's like, oh fuck.
Yeah, well, Danny DeVito was a fucking saint for her during the whole Matilda thing, because her mom was sick. He took care of her. And
well, I'm just talking about, she's a young girl, and she's like, when I grow up and be big and tall,
realizing that I'm already taller than Danny DeVito. No, reading about what all Danny DeVito did during the filming of Matilda made him a hero in my eyes. I love the man.
I like Danny DeVito. But so this is what I would do. I would take it the opposite way, and this is kind of sad because I have to go so far probably from the book in order to make the movie special.
Right.
But I would make Mrs. Doubtfire not believable at all. Like, when she shows up, like, no one believes that this is a person. It's like, oh my god, is that Dad in drag? Right?
See, I picture Charlie Day in this role now, but like he hasn't shaved the beard, and he's like, "What? No, it's me, your babysitter."
What? No, it's like, what you think I'm gonna just think? No, it's like you're voicing yourself. What do you mean I'm saying me? I sound feminist. What are you talking about? So that's the thing, and so the wife goes along with it.
Okay.
Right, to see, okay, what's your end game here? Because if nothing else, this is going to give me more fuel for the divorce.
Right.
Be like, he has lost his ever-loving mind. But then she sees that he really is trying. And the thing is, they start to kind of slip into, because even though he thinks he's fooling them, and he's being someone else, they start to like the other person that he's pretending to be.
Right.
And then, of course, it convinces him, it's like, oh, I could have been this person all along, when you find out that they're not convinced. So the thing is, in the end, instead of him revealing himself to them, they reveal to him that we knew this whole time, you weren't fooling us.
Yeah.
And so that makes the humor so much different, because now, instead of you kind of playing along as he's joking to everyone, you're now playing along with them.
Yeah.
And it's like everyone is now, like, he encounters, like, some people don't know. And they're like, what the fuck? Are you serious? It's like I'm like, sir, you cannot go into that bathroom, And then they're like, no, it's okay. This is our babysitter, and she's she's a woman. I'm like, all right, kid, and that would make it like funnier.
Yeah, it would be a whole new brand for it, and I think there would be enough of a divorce from the source material that people wouldn't do this whole, that's not Robin Williams,
right?
So I think that would be a pretty safe approach to it.
And the person that he goes to get the whole makeup thing. So I don't want it to be the whole professional, because it's not supposed to look. I want it to be a very amateur job. Is that he goes to like his his old acting teacher. I'll make him like a failed actor or something.
Okay.
Right? So he goes to his old acting teacher, who was played by Christopher Walken.
Why are you not putting the makeup on?
It's like, you look good. I slept with you. Come on, let's go to bed right now. I'll show you. You look good.
Keep the wig on. I like it when you wear the wig.
I thought you said your wife was going to call. Why is she calling? All right, so I guess before I toss my idea to you, we should probably break for an ad.
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm sure it's going to be an ad for a wonderful reboot that's coming your way.
Yeah, this summer.
Terror has a new name, but it's a name you've heard before, and it's not new at all. This time, Jason has a time machine.
He can go back in time.
He goes back to the past. How do we get Jason to kill Hitler? And it's like, we've got to find a way to get Hitler to hold one of his meetings at Camp Crystal Lake. Oh my god, that's an awesome movie.
That's
Holy
incredible.
shit. I want to see that.
Here, Fiora, have some marijuana. Yeah, I think I will.
Oh, I want to watch this movie now. I want to watch like Nightmare on Elm Street.
This is some good kush. Very good, Hans. Thank you, Adolf.
Friday the 13th SS.
Now let's discuss military strategy, Hans. Wait, Fiora. I've brought some girls onto the campsite. I want to have sex with you. Yeah, that sounds like a good time, Hans. Jason bobs to the surface of the lake. Ooh.
What are you hiding from in the bushes, Fräulein? Oh, you are in the sleeping bag waiting for me.
Das sleeping bag. In Germany, we call this das Sleepenwagen.
So you're at a disadvantage now because I've actually come up with 2 reboots. At time. Holy shit, I want to see this movie.
Who is this filthy American wearing the hockey mask? Oh, that's almost as good as Rick James Frankenstein.
Oh man, that's gonna be so awesome.
Fuck your children, you fertile bitch! You can have another. Oh, we need to be hired.
Oh shit. Okay.
And we're back. I have no idea when I'm gonna cut for the commercial break now. And we're back. So hi everybody. Those were some good products.
Yeah.
I liked them.
Yeah. So
what franchise would you like to see me try to reboot?
what franchise would I like, or franchise or a movie, right?
Yeah,
franchise or a movie.
movie.
It doesn't have to be like a full franchise. That's interesting. Yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind would be Star Wars, because someone needs to do it right.
Oh, jeez.
But, no, I have to think...
Some big shoes to fill.
Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. Sorry, it's Simpsons when Sideshow Bob framed Krusty, and there's the...
Nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Stupid sexy Flanders. Let's see, what would I want to see you redo? God, it's tough. You kind of sprung this on me, so now I'm just like making noise, like filling time. Like, yes, what would be a good movie for the cinema silver screen that would show in theaters and not on Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus streaming service, Amazon Prime, Roku. And I just okay. I'm having a hard time really kind of thinking of an idea that okay, I'll give you one.
All right.
And you're probably going to be like, blasphemy. But Blues Brothers.
Oh, shit. That would be a really hard one, because Dan Aykroyd's really old. And of course John Belushi's dead. Shit. Okay. It's gonna take me a minute here. So, I don't feel like I could change too much of the soundtrack. I feel like there might be a few songs that I could tweak here and there, and I might be able to add some songs to that soundtrack. But as far as the core stuff, like, you really can't get rid of Can't Turn You Loose, you can't get rid of the Minnie the Moocher scene, and you can't get rid of the Everybody Needs Somebody.
But you don't have Cab Calloway or any of those people that play those roles.
It would have to be, like, really good cover performers, just like they're doing with Rocket Man or with Bohemian Rhapsody. You would have to just find people who can... I wouldn't want to do, like, these perfect impersonators, but I would want to find people who can do, like, kick-ass good covers of it. As far as who I would get to play the role, that would be tough. See, the issue is I just don't know people who have the kind of talent that can match with what the Blues Brothers originally did. And I don't know if I could ever find anybody who could bring that same energy to things that John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd did. So, it may be a matter similar to what you did with Mrs. Doubtfire, of just kind of taking it in the exact opposite direction and maybe even bringing in a little air of irreverence to it. Because I'm thinking maybe appeal to a different cult crowd here. And by that I mean a lot of people in my generation were kind of awakened, not me, I was a fan of the Blues Brothers before this, but a lot of people in my generation were kind of awakened to the Blues Brothers by Drake and Josh doing their tribute to it.
Really?
Yeah, there was an episode where Drake and Josh go to the talent show and they do a cover of Soul Man, and it's pretty decent. It's not great, but it's decent. And so a lot of people who I know who, when you bring up Blues Brothers, are like, oh yeah, I learned about it through Drake and Josh. So...
I never would have thought.
Yeah. So, now
You're
obviously...
like, I learned about Beethoven from iCarly. Like, what?
I learned about Beethoven from Peanuts, so, you know. But yeah, no, like, it opens up with, the episode opens up with Drake, like, watching the Blues Brothers movie, and he's like, I want to do Soul Man for the talent show, so they do it. And, like I said, it's a decent cover. I mean, they're obviously both, like, really young, and they don't have, like, the same flair, but I think bringing those two on to do a full Blues Brothers remake, that would kind of appeal to a different crowd, because you're going to have the original Blues Brothers fan saying, this is not Belushi and Aykroyd, which is the same thing with Mrs. Doubtfire saying, you know, this is not Robin Williams.
Right.
But you would have this entire subsect of millennials going, oh, holy shit, it's Drake and Josh, and now they're doing a full Blues Brothers movie. Now, obviously, you know, realistically, those two aren't going to be in a movie together. They had their big falling out because the one didn't invite the other to his wedding or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea what their deal was, because then I didn't really watch that show.
Yeah, so when Josh got married, he didn't invite Drake, and Drake was like, I thought we were friends, and then they haven't spoken since.
Oh, you thought that, huh?
Right. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were co-workers. Fuck you, buddy. But no, again, this is like idealistic world. This is assuming I can get the people and I can talk them into it, you know? So, from an idealistic standpoint, I think that would work really well. And here's why. When Aykroyd and Belushi came up with the Blues Brothers, that was just a throwaway joke for SNL. They didn't think, oh, hey, we're going to start a legitimate band, we're going to do legitimately good music, and we're going to establish a fan base specifically for that,
right,
and then go on to make a movie. What they did was, oh, here's this funny little throwaway thing that we're going to do one time, and never think about it again. So, it kind of maintains that same that same spirit, in that they had this one episode where it's like, oh, we're going to do this tribute to Blues Brothers, and we're going to walk away from it and not think about it. But people really, really liked it, and it resonated with people. So now the next step would be, let's make it a legitimate band and make it into a movie. So that would be how I would approach that franchise.
Okay. So I did have an idea.
Okay.
So Blues Brothers 2000... and then plus, you know, you got a lot of the members of the Blues Brothers, the actual band, you know, are no longer with us.
Yeah, yeah.
So you start the movie off just like we did with the Blues Brothers 2000, where we're picking up kind of years after the last one,
right,
and the kid from Blues Brothers 2000, Buster. So, Elwood is he's older and living like a blues retirement home, right? With all these other kind of like blues artists, and Buster shows up, and he's got like a bit of a beard, kind of the whole ZZ Top looking thing, and he's looking for him, and he's like, Buster, where you been? I was like, I never thought I'd see you again. And he's like, I'm here to take over the name, the Blues Brothers name. And he's like, well, geez, I thought you weren't interested. I mean, because we did a thing, we toured around, and you just kind of disappeared. And he's like, well, it's like, I went to go and learn the blues. I went to learn the blues, and all the back clubs and this is like, yeah, you could have taught me the blues, but I felt like I needed to really learn it on my own and come into it the way you came into it, and to really get an appreciation for it. And he's like, well, since you didn't it seemed like you were interested, I kind of sold the name for the band. And so he's got to go and he's got to get the name. Okay. And so it's like, well, I sent it to wherever it is, and but if you could get it, stop it, whatever. So then you basically kind of do the same thing that you've done in the other two movies, because that's what Blues Brothers is. It's that whole road chase movie. Yep. And he's got to go. But then, of course, along the way, he has to, maybe he'll pick up some other members of the band. Because right now he just wants the name. Right. So he doesn't have a band. He just has him and his guitar. Right, yeah. And harmonica. And
he's got to have the harmonica.
Right.
And he would still have to wear like black sneakers with a suit.
Right. So he's got to keep the whole thing, and though he goes along in this whole chase where he's going to get the name. I don't want to make it a whole like son thing or whatever, but the family of the good old boys, right? Whose whole thing was ruined because of the Blues Brothers. And they actually make an appearance in Blues Brothers 2000 as well. They own like a restaurant, Bob's Country Bunker. Right. It's like Bob's Country like eatery, and so it's like they're like those Blues Brothers, they cost us this, and they learn maybe through the retirement home about the name, right, being transferred. Like we can stop that menace. Right, we can end that whole lineage of the blues and everything else by getting that name ourselves. Yeah. So then they've got these people that are trying to stop them. Maybe not get the name for themselves, but maybe at least stop them from getting it. So you got Buster on his way, trying to get wherever he needs to go. And of course. And got to perform somewhere to get gas money or whatever, and he's got to pick up, and of course he'll pick up members of his band along the way and that sort of thing to get there. And then at the end, it's kind of like the end of the second one where they have the battle of the bands where they have to compete with like B.B. King and Edward Clapton and all that sort of thing. So, and then I'll even toss in just because. Like where they're not going to make it. They're 2 states away. They've got to be there the next day, and like they're not going to make it. And then I'm going to toss in a Deus Ex Machina where Erykah Badu's character from the end of Blues Brothers 2000, like she used her magical supernatural powers to whisk them there and like drop them off.
So this feels more like Blues Brothers 3 than it would be like a reboot to me.
But it's a passing of the torch. I think that's the best way to do a reboot of sorts is a passing of the torch.
It's just to lay out the groundwork. Okay.
And that way it feels more natural than we're like, oh hey, and it was like I bought this old firehouse in an auction, and look at these proton packs in them. We should beat Ghostbusters.
Yeah, well that's an example of a really bad reboot.
I don't even know that's what that was. I'm just just tossing it out there.
Right.
But,
yeah.
But yeah, so
okay,
that could be something.
That could be, yeah. I like the premise. Yeah. Okay. So I have not thought of anything else that I want to toss your way yet.
What?
Yeah, I'm still trying to think here. I feel bad about having thrown Mrs. Doubtfire at you.
Does that guy have a huge snake around his neck, or is that like the pattern of his outfit? But again, all this time you guys have been alive, just dustbuster, just a broom or something. Just Or even all the movement they've done, you think the cobwebs would have fallen off, or do they just get fresh cobwebs? Or is like, come here, oh my God, look at you, looking all clean. Give me, honey, will you go in the back, give me that box of cobwebs?
Box of cobwebs. Let's see. Shit, I thought I had a pretty good one. Hold on.
They're only waiting.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They're patient. Shit, I had a good one. Damn it. Just because you kept talking, it threw me off.
Okay, I won't say anything else. I'll just be quiet.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Totally quiet.
That's good.
No talking from me. I'll just be like, I'm not even here.
Okay.
You be like, is Turk still here? I'm like, I don't know. He's been so quiet.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw out Donnie Darko then.
Donnie Darko.
Yeah, I was thinking something a little older, a little more classic, like maybe a Kurosawa film. But yeah, let's go with Donnie Darko because it's very trippy, very, very open to interpretation.
Oh man,
I want to see how you would handle that.
I'm not even sure if you could redo Donnie Darko because there's so much about that movie. The thing about Donnie Darko that makes it a good movie is that some people don't like it. They don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's okay.
So would you consider that an untouchable one in the same vein as like Tarantino's movies?
I wouldn't say it's untouchable. I would say that it doesn't need to be touched. There's nothing you can do to make that movie better. It doesn't need better special effects. It doesn't need like a script that is a little bit more easier for people to understand. And it's not perfect, but it's perfect for what it is. It's perfect for that story.
Yeah. I don't disagree, but then that kind of harkens back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where most things don't need a reboot. It's very rare that you can justify a reboot.
Okay, so I'm going to reboot Donnie Darko.
Yeah, I mean, I can toss you a Kurosawa film if you'd rather that, but they've also been remade into westerns a lot of times too. So
oh God, most of them have been. Shit. Okay. Let me think. So I think with Donnie Darko, what I would do is, in the end of Donnie Darko, so throughout the whole thing, he's trying to find find out what's going on in this, and Frank keeps showing up,
right,
and the whole thing, he's just kind of. Donnie's a misfit. He's an outcast,
right?
And he's a loner. So he makes a connection with Jenna Malone's character, and of course she gets killed. And I'm sorry for spoilers. She gets killed, and then in the end he's like, oh, to make things right, I have to go back. This is how things should have been. And to make things right, I have to go back and put things in place. And the thing is, when he lays in bed at the end, and he's got that smile on his face, like, oh, I'm going to put all these things right.
Right.
But throughout the movie, he doesn't know that, he doesn't know what's going on. It's like a whole mystery.
Yeah.
What I think I would do is I would change it a little bit to where he finds out earlier on what's going on.
Okay.
And kind of pieces things together. And it's like, oh, I should have died here.
Right, yeah.
And I should have died here. And in order for things to go right, in order for things to be okay, I have to go back and die. It's like, but I don't want to.
Right, yeah.
And this thing is like, the rest of the movie is him trying to figure out a way that he can still live.
Okay.
And make things better. Or, and then in the end, he resigns himself to say, you know what, I'm so busy worried about my living and me living along with everybody. It's like I'm putting my life first.
Right.
And I'm saying, but I also want my family to be okay. But really, if I want my family to be okay, then I have to put them first.
Yeah.
And then once he comes to that realization, then he does what he needs to do, and it's okay. So you either take that approach with it, or make it so that Donnie's not the one that died.
Okay.
And so the whole time he's trying to save like that person, like his sister or his father, his mother. He's trying to save them. And then in the end, he does realize that he's got to let him go. And it even goes to the point where he's like, well, what I'll do is let's say we take the same events, right?
Right.
But the engine falls to their bedroom. And so when he gets up to the point, he's like, hey, he basically wants to say, like, hey, why don't we switch bedrooms? You know, and I don't need this big room, and then you'll need it, and I just need a smaller room or whatever to kind of, and it's like, I'll take your place. But when he like starts to put those plans in motion, right, it changes everything to where it's like, well, now you're going to die, but now that changes everything else.
Right.
So it doesn't make things any better.
Okay.
And so he's got to go through that. And he's got to let go, but then he also has to be the only person in the end that lives with the knowledge that the future as it's laid out, and everything that he gets after that point all came from the sacrifice of his family member, his loved one.
Right.
But it's not really a sacrifice because he's the one that had to sacrifice. They don't even know that it's going to happen. It's all him, and it's like so even then everything that happens after that, it's like he's like, I've got to carry on, or that whole, this means so much to me, right? Because of this and all that. So I don't want to make an end where like he'll things like, I had to kill my dad, but it's like from this point on, everything I do, I'm gonna do to honor you and respect you, because even though there was no other way, you had no idea that what was going to happen, and I had to do this. So now I'm going to do everything I can to say what I got from this. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. I like that.
So I just got to say one thing about this movie.
Yeah.
Right? This woman keeps going from the long straight hair to the big afro to the long straight hair. I don't know which is her hair. That kind of looks like her hair, and I'm assuming the afro is maybe the wig. I don't know, but you're not going from a wig to like this long straight hair. And then the thing is, as long as her hair is there, her afro should be huge,
right?
And it's not even the same texture of hair. This is just like
maybe
bizarre.
They're both wigs.
That looks a little natural.
Yeah,
it could be a wig.
It looks pretty natural, yeah, but who knows?
Yeah,
but yeah, so. It's interesting in both of your approaches. Like you're very much reimagining like the entire story at its core, and like you're keeping the same premise, but you're like basically like reinterpreting the beats. Like my thing with the Blues Brothers is like reinterpreting the characters and stuff, and reinterpreting what drives the characters, but kind of keeping the same story beats.
Right.
Like I still imagine that like their driving motivation, maybe not necessarily to save an orphanage, because that might be a little bit too similar. But I can still see them like trying to save their childhood home or something like that.
Oh yeah, that works.
Like actually keeping their parents around, that kind of thing.
You know what they could do is be raising money for like the like a local school's like a music program.
Ah, yeah, I can see that.
It's like they've got their like the blues for our music program, we've got enough for the band stuff that performs at the football games, but the smaller like the blues thing, we don't have money for that, so we're gonna have to cut that part out of the music program. And they're like, well, we can come up with the money,
and probably kind of bringing in like sort of a Karate Kid-esque thing over, instead of it taking place in Chicago, it would be like they're in kind of this little podunk town. Sure. They're in like kind of this little podunk town where they don't really fit in, and so that kind of brings in the Good Old Boys as like, oh yeah, they're like the band that's really popular at school because they're like the country music guys,
right? So
they have to they sort of have to awaken people to, now this is what's cool, is that kind of thing. But it would be like like revisiting their old high school. I can see that kind of thing. Okay.
Yeah, I think that would work.
Alright, so you got one more for me? How are we on time? We are right at the hour mark, so I'll have to be quick on mine.
Okay, so I'm just going to say this, because we're never quick when we say that. Hey, ask our girlfriends. Oh, babe, I'm almost done. I'm almost done.
Wait, don't move. Don't move. Okay, a little bit more.
Let's go ahead and just break for another ad.
Sure.
And then we'll come back and I'll be able to present you with something good.
Sounds good.
All right. And check these things out. Okay.
All right. We're back.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Dr. Nick.
Hey, buddy. Welcome to the Chaos Theater.
Diet Coke, am I right? So you want to fight me for her? Was that not clear? I thought that was clear.
Was that clear? Okay, so you seriously want me to reboot the Bear Winch franchise? Because
No, here's the thing,
I
though.
was hoping to God you were kidding about that.
Here's the thing. I think this would be more challenging than anything else because we talked about yesterday. You have to be very careful with your boob ratio. Because remember when we were watching it wasn't Malibu Express. The movie we were watching, we were like God, it's too much. There's like too much boob right now. It's like I need some kind of story, even if it's a bad story in between.
That wasn't Malibu Express?
Was it? It could have been.
It might have been.
Oh yeah, it was because every like 5 minutes it was like a new set of boobs.
Yeah, because like it was like without even reason. See, here's the thing: is I've never watched a TNA movie beginning to end like that outside of The Spy Who Sexed Me when we did that Let's Watch. Most of the time I'm watching this stuff, I'm just like jumping around to the good stuff because I have a really short attention span. So I don't know if
it's
I'm
your attention span that's short. Woo! You tell him, girlfriend.
Must your mother tell you everything? God. But yeah, so I don't know if I've done enough.
You can quote the one Kevin Smith movie that you've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, bravo.
Yeah, I quote the one Kevin Smith movie that I've seen all the time. By the way, did you know that when the church in Kevin Smith's hometown was protesting Dogma, he showed up to the protest?
No, I did not.
Yeah, he painted up his own sign about how evil the movie is, and he just stood with the protesters, and nobody caught on except for the news channel.
I know that he was when he made I forgot, I can't think of that one movie that he did. But he kind of got in touch with the people. Who are those people that do all the protesting? That one church.
Oh, the Westboro Baptist Church.
And was talking to some of those people, and he had a whole thing on either his podcast or one of those things about it, and basically got to, he was like, he kind of took them as being like a joke or whatever, but then he was like, well, these people are really kind of scary. And
they're terrifying.
Yeah. So anyway, interesting. But I think that like the guy that the head of the church, like right before he died, he kind of like denounced all their actions, and they were like, what? And something like that. I mean, I don't follow Westboro, so
fuck them.
Yeah.
I know that like his daughter has rejected the church and stepped away from it, but no, like the local news station was like, one protester there bears a striking resemblance to the director of this film, so they go up and they interview him, and they're like, so why are you protesting this movie? And he's like, I don't think it stands for something good. And they're like, well, what does it stand for? He's like, I don't know, I haven't seen it, but whatever it is, it's not good.
So I did buy my brother a Buddy Christ action figure.
Okay.
And he is Catholic, and he was like, yeah, I'm not going to put that on display. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. I'm like, all right.
Okay,
but, so no, not the bear much. I'm actually not going to do that.
Oh, really? Because I was starting to build some groundwork here. But okay, I'll take the cash in.
So this is one I'm gonna put out there because it's already something that it's in the works.
Okay.
But we haven't heard anything really about it. So I'm gonna say, what would you do? The Matrix. The Matrix franchise. So not just the trilogy, but also the Animatrix.
Ooh, the Animatrix.
So you got to look at it as a whole.
Okay, this could be interesting. So this is tough because I love Keanu Reeves.
So here's the other thing I'm going to ask you. All right, I'm just going to put this out there.
All right.
Do you think that the idea for the Matrix was the subconscious of Lana and I can't remember her sister's name, of their subconscious telling them that you know what? Maybe you're not who you are supposed to be. Because that's what the whole Matrix is, right? It's the world that has been, put before your eyes to hide you from the real truth. Was that there was like, let me out. This is not a dance.
I'm begging for help. I'm screaming for help.
that maybe this was like them, like, hey, do you sometimes feel like the world isn't the way it's supposed to be? And like the whole idea of the Matrix is basically them trying to come to terms with, that maybe I'm not who I'm supposed to be.
I'll say I don't know on that one. It's been a long time since I've seen the Matrix.
Just put it out there.
So I'll say right off the bat, I don't know who I would cast for a reboot on that. That's tough because Keanu Reeves is very, very perfect for that role. I would have to do a long, hard search to find new talent as far as that goes. As far as the story, I can see reimagining the story a little bit. So the whole thing with the Matrix is Neo being the one. He is a Christ figure. It's telling the Jesus story, which I'm very fond of franchises that tell the Jesus story.
Superman.
I like Superman. I like Superman telling the Jesus story, but I feel like the Matrix trilogy is a little bit imbalanced in how it approaches telling the Jesus story, because Neo has an awakening and a realization of who he is by the first movie. And then the other two is like, what do I do in light of the fact that I am the one?
Mm-hmm.
So what I would want to do in rebooting that would be that this is him having to come to terms with that being his role. And so he's not going to accept his role as the one and step into this role as being the man in the white hat until the third movie. So it's going to be more of a traditional hero's journey, and it's going to require more character development on Neo's part.
Okay.
So, first movie, it would actually start off with him, just basically establishing the world, and him being pulled out of the Matrix against his will. And more towards the end of the movie, like, it would be more like chases and fight scenes and stuff at the beginning of it, but then more towards the end of the movie, you have this realization of, no, we think you're the one, we think you're this fulfillment of prophecy, and he's not going to want to accept that, and he's gonna, it's gonna be this thing of like, well, am I gonna take this? Am I gonna try to throw my life into upheaval by embracing this role and surging forward, or am I just going to go back in? So it's basically kind of pacing out the first movie and stretching that out over the 3 films. Largely because I feel like the first movie is the strongest part of the story anyway, and the next 2 are a little bit weaker. But then the second movie would be him having to come to grips with that and basically fulfilling these roles, learning what powers he's really capable of. And then the third movie is when he embraces this is his destiny, he becomes the one, and then he goes on from there. So that would be my approach. Again, I have no idea who I would cast for this. Maybe I just don't know enough actors. It could be interesting, just assuming that it would be like a couple years down the road, but it would be interesting to see Tom Holland in the role of Neo.
Okay. What about your boyfriend Wolfhard? Because you remember the whole thing with the Matrix that Morpheus tells him, we normally don't bring somebody out, that's so old, but you're special.
Yeah. Okay.
So to go along with your whole thing of like acceptance, he's too young. To really accept. It's like you haven't seen Dogma, but it's the whole thing about Dogma when they tell a story of Jesus accepting his role in the world and what he's going to have to do and what's going to have to happen. He's like,
right.
That's such a hard thing to put on the shoulders of a 13-year-old boy. Be like, you're the savior of this entire universe of all of creation. And you're going to tell this, basically, in your Christ figure there, the same thing.
Right.
Come with us. You're supposed to be the one that's going to save us. And it also kind of plays along with the whole thing from Spider-Man Far From Home, when he's like, look, I just want to go to high school. I want to see if this girl is as interested in me as I am in her. I don't want to be a hero. Plus, I'm too young. Last time I was a hero, I had to watch my mentor die.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me that you want me to take his place? I don't know shit about taking his place.
Right.
I mean, the last 3 conversations we had before he died was, I'm taking away your suit because you fucked up, and I want you to be better than me. Go home. but you didn't go home. So now that you didn't go home, I want, then fine, stay here and do what I tell you to. But the whole reason I want you to go home is so that you didn't die, and now you're dying in my arms.
Right.
And now you're telling me that I'm supposed to be the one to save the universe?
Yeah.
So I say, take your Finn Wolfhard guy and basically take all of that stuff there and put that on his shoulders.
That could be interesting. I think Finn Wolfhard would do really well in that role.
And then on top of that, don't give him the option. It's like, Neo has the option, take the pill. If they grab him and they yank him out, and he's like, you pulled me out of it, I'm going to go back. And they're like, you can't go back. This is your new life. Accept it.
I do like that. So
imagine if they go into, like, he plays along, it's like, we're going to take you to go see the Oracle, and they plug in and he runs off.
Yeah. Oh, that would be cool.
And now they got to chase him through that while agents are chasing him too. And it's like, he's not trained, It's like, he's not trained. We've got to get him.
He doesn't know shit about what's going on with it. So yeah, I could kind of see that. Now, the Animatrix, that would be a tough one. The only thing I could see really doing super differently with that would be just like different animation teams.
Okay, so let me ask you this. The Animatrix is basically stories in the Matrix that you've never heard before.
Yeah.
And they're all done by different animators.
Yeah.
Who would just pick 4 animators to tell your tales?
Okay. Ralph Bakshi for sure.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that would be interesting to see if Ralph Bakshi. Man.
Yeah, I like Bakshi way too much, and he does a lot with like rotoscoping and stuff.
Yes.
So I can see him approaching it more like he did with Fire and Ice or Cool World, rather than doing some of like the extremely cartoony stuff. I think it would be really, really interesting. So definitely him. It's probably impossible because I don't think they're still around, but I would love to get the animation team for Akira to do a short for that.
Okay.
I mean, they did beautiful work. And I'm not typically an anime guy, but that's like some of the most beautiful animation I've ever seen. So, definitely them. Let's see. Who else? See, this is tough because it's a very specific style. You know what? I almost want to say the guys who did Cowboy Bebop.
Okay.
And it's weird for me to be going for so much anime stuff, but like there's a certain level of grittiness and realism to the Animatrix that you kind of got to maintain. And something that really always stuck with me from Cowboy Bebop was from the movie when they have that fight scene.
Okay.
And the way the camera's swaying when they're hitting each other, and like the way it like jerks and shakes when the hits connect. It's a really, really good fight scene. So I could actually see bringing on an animation team from there. And let's see, who else? I would want... Let's see, who else? This could be tough. The Amaji guys, who did TMNT.
Okay.
Yeah. I like their animation style. They've got like this semi-cartoony style with like layers of realism on it. And I like the way they handled the Foot Ninjas and the Ancient Warriors too. So
if I had to pick pick 4, I would probably go with I'd give Gendy Tartakovsky 1.
Okay. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot about him.
Like I said, the new series Primal.
Yeah, Primal.
I do have to show you that first episode because that is again. I told you. If I ever meet Gendy Tartakovsky, I'm gonna kick him in his fucking nuts, dude. That first episode is so brutal, and I'm like, are you really you just trying to break me down, dude? I'm like, what? I'm like, God damn.
He's gonna hear this podcast, and he's gonna have taken samurai training in preparation for Samurai Jack, and just kick the shit out of you when he sees you.
Wait, Gendy Tartakovsky, isn't he like part Russian or something? So he probably.
Oh God, yeah, he was raised by cave bears.
Yeah, I mean. He'd probably come me with like a lace cigarette with like a dart in it or something.
Just like barbed wire.
So, yeah, just like barbed wire. I would give, let's see, Wes Anderson. I would like to see what he would do with his stop motion stuff, like Isle of Dogs and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh, yeah.
That would be interesting.
That would be really interesting.
And Miyazaki would be nice because you wouldn't get a big, like epic, like fight scene kind of thing. It would be just more introspective.
Yeah.
But I don't think that would be something that would interest him.
His stuff is a little too soft for the Matrix. Like, he does a lot of nature.
But
his work.
I'm thinking that if you had a story that's in the Matrix, where about someone who's in the Matrix, who for whatever reason, like their life in the Matrix, should be knowing that they're in the Matrix. So what if you have someone that
is a peaceful Miyazaki film?
Well, I was saying, what if he has a story where here's a person that is in the Matrix, like they're outside the Matrix, they're on the Nebuchadnezzar, right? Mm-hmm. But every once in a while they jack in, and their family is still there. And he's like, oh, I've got a new job, I'm on the road all the time. But he jacks in to the Matrix and goes and spends time with them to see his family. So you have this whole story about this guy who's got one foot in the real world, one foot in the Matrix, but he can't rescue them.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Right? So, and he can't tell them the truth. So the only thing he can do is just continue to try to spend time in both worlds until he can get them out. Yeah. And maybe he can't ever get them out. And maybe like they tracked where his daughter was, and his daughter is is in a maybe both his wife and daughter, whatever. Maybe that his daughter is like her body is malformed, so maybe she doesn't have arms or something like that. But in the Matrix, she doesn't have any limitations. Yeah. So it's like, I would be doing her a disservice if I pulled her out. Right. If I pulled her out and made her live in this harsh environment that we're in, like that, why would I want to do that to her where she can live there and not know any of this? And so it's like, it's better for him to leave her there. Yeah. Or maybe, I keep saying him, maybe it would be a woman. Maybe it's better for her to leave her daughter or her son there in that world than try to pull him out. And since she can't go back in permanently, like that's the only thing she can do. But she has to be like, I've got to go away again. And of course, never knowing that, if Squiddy's attack or whatever, she could die and they would never know what happened to her. Right, yeah. And yeah, I can see Miyazaki doing that story. Yeah, that I can actually see. So.
Alright, I like it. And who would your fourth be?
That's, I'm trying to think of animators like, Illumination. No, I'm joking. I mean, I like Despicable Me and all that stuff, but I like them for what they are. I'm not.
Neo, you have to remember there is no spoon.
It's like, I take the blue pill. I sit on the toilet with the blue pill. I got a Coding for Dummies book. I didn't like what you said.
Whoa.
I don't know. That'd be a tough one. Just because I'm looking at it right now, I think I would. Paul Dini.
Refresh me on some of what he did.
The team of Paul Dini and Bruce Timm.
Oh shit! Yeah. Ooh, that would be good.
Yep. So, and I would do this. I would do this with the Matrix if I was going to do it. New, the whole thing. I knew Neo, all that stuff. But when Neo gets to the architect,
okay,
we reveal the architect. It's Neo. It's Keanu Reeves. And he's like, okay, now you've got to make the choice. You've got to pick who the next Neo is. And he's like, what? He's like, look, I used to be Neo. Here's the thing. There's nothing outside the Matrix.
Wow.
The world is gone. There's no way we can bring the world back. There's like, the machines, when they tried to kill us and they killed the world, they killed the world. Yeah. It's dead. If we were to free everyone from the Matrix, they would all just die. And because there's nothing, you can't grow any food, it's just gone. So, because there's no animals. Because if all the people die, there's no animals there.
Oh yeah.
You might have like some like roaches or microbes or whatever, but you don't have any of the things that you're going to need to really repopulate or take over the world if it's completely gone. What are they going to eat?
Yeah.
So he's like, this is really the only way for humanity to live is within the Matrix. I found that out, and so now that's what I'm doing here. Is I'm just keeping the Matrix going and keeping everybody else alive, because without that, there's nothing.
Yeah, and what I can see with that is, like, after it ends, then you show who the next Neo is going to be, and, like, he's working in the same job, and he sees, like, the woman with the rabbit. So I could see that working. The only thing, though, is that kind of reminds me a bit of Snowpiercer.
So I haven't seen Snowpiercer.
It's good.
But I was going to say, and the thing is, with the next Neo, is he's sitting there at his job, and he looks over at a picture of his girlfriend. You see a picture of his girlfriend, he looks over at it, and he does, like, a double take, because it's not his girlfriend, it's a picture of the girlfriend from the last Neo, and he looks back, and it's back to his girlfriend again. It's just like,
then he looks back, and it's that picture of Nick Cage from Con Air with the wind blowing through his hair. It's like, there we go.
I was thinking of the one from from Vampire's Kiss.
Oh yeah.
But just like he's in the first one, and he says, he's like, whoa, deja vu, right? And like, it's like a glitch in the Matrix. So it kind of saying that maybe something's not quite right. If you're the new Neo, but the previous one left something behind for you.
Yeah.
So that would start off your second movie, where he's picking up his, like, but things aren't completely like rebooted, or restarted from the last one. There's something different there, and it's like it's your job to figure out why.
Yeah, and I think in my reboot, I would probably do like a little bit less like extremely mechanical squiddies. Like, they've got all the gears and seams and bolts and stuff. They're very, very mechanical looking. I would almost go with something a little slicker and smoother, like kind of a Titan IE sort of feel. So, like, really, really smooth, like almost liquid kind of metal, to sort of make them a little more perfect seeming. So sort of like iRobot, where it's just like all this super smooth and like articulated faces and stuff. I think that would make them a bit creepier.
You know what I would do? Sorry, I just to so people know, because I went like, we're watching, what's come on now is, was High Spirits? Yeah, High Spirits. And in the credits for it, it said production design by Anton Furst. And I was like, oh, Anton Furst. It's like, okay, that's interesting. Because I haven't heard that name. I think he died, actually, got years and years ago. Anton Furst was the guy that designed the look of Gotham City for the first Tim Burton Batman movie.
Oh, nice.
And they actually did some Batman comic books back then.
Wow.
With the covers of like some of his production art and stuff, the Anton Furst things.
Yeah.
And apparently he did some of the production design for High Spirits here. And I was like, oh, cool, because I really hadn't heard his name. I only ever associated his name with the first Batman movie.
Yeah.
But
and then Anton Second took over for the second Batman movie.
He did.
What is with people tucking their fucking ties in the front of their pants?
That's an old man thing, man.
God, pisses me off. I just want to grab these people and shake them. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say, is I would tie the squiddies to, so the squiddies are just like the agents, right?
Right.
They're all connected to a particular person in the real world. So every time you destroy a squiddy, you're actually killing a person in the real world.
Huh. Okay.
Because that person, that individual powers that part of the Matrix, that program.
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
Right. Exactly. So it's like, and you don't know like who's tied to the squiddy. So, maybe the next person you want to rescue, you can't now, because remember, you decided to save your crew and kill that squiddy. Now you kill the next Neo.
Wow. Yeah, that could be fun. Okay. Okay, so we've been going for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So not too bad. I was afraid that we would hit a wall with these and not be able to actually come up with good ideas, but I think we've actually got some really solid ideas here.
Yeah.
So
we could actually be like Hollywood filmmakers.
Yeah. Hey Hollywood, if you need to hire some consultants, then you know the guys to contact here.
That's right.
You actually like think that rebooting a franchise is a good idea, and you just insist. We can do that.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, these are just things that we came up off the top of our heads. So, imagine if we actually had time to really look into it and be like, oh, hey, what could we really do with this?
See, at this point, I feel like this is like giving the music producer your mixtape at some party. Like, yeah, no, here's my mixtape. Yeah. Like, oh, thanks.
As we just created our Hollywood movie mixtape.
Right. It's like, yeah, no, here's some of my pitches if you want to read those. Like, oh yeah, thanks. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to give it back to me or anything. I mean, it's a copy. You can have it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll read it. Okay. I mean, yeah, it's just my phone number's in there if you just want to, like, you know, call me, let me know what you think of it. Yeah, I will. Thanks. Okay. I mean, just don't think that you're taking everyone's copy. I mean, it's your copy. I printed it just for you. Yeah, I know.
It's okay if you lose the first page because I actually put a name and phone number and everything on every page of the script, so it's good.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, I see that. You really did. Okay.
And and I actually printed the script front and back, so like if you were to flip it over, it starts all. It's like the first page of page one is like the back of the other one. So if you lose some of the pages, you just flip to the back of the book and you can start all over again.
Yeah, wow, you really thought of everything. I'm just gonna put this in my briefcase here. Okay, so there, see, that's in my briefcase. Okay, think you'll be able to call me this weekend, maybe? Let me know what you think.
Yeah. You just let me know, that that you got it. I mean, I know I handed it to you. You have it, but just to make sure that you got it.
Yeah. No, I will.
All right, so
I would love to be that person just once. Just once, just to put them on the spot.
No, you know what? I know you're kind of like a really busy guy. You're probably really busy, right? No, you're not. Well, hey, let me just read some of it to you. I can do the voices really well. It's like I'll just read a little bit to you. That way you can get you started, like a trailer, like a trailer for the script that you're going to read.
I'm kind of thinking Sam Jackson for this role. You think you can get him? You got his agent's number? Okay.
Well, and I actually gave him a copy. As I saw him I saw a guy that looked like him, and I was like, you know what? It might not be him because he might have been filming a movie and been in makeup. But I gave it to him anyway, just in case. You never know, right? It's Hollywood. Or they go Holly weird.
Yeah. No, I'm going to San Diego Comic-Con. Going to hand out some copies of these. So
So yeah. Yeah. Can't wait for you to call.
Yeah, no.
And I have a call waiting. I mean,
it's my cell phone number, so I have it on all the time. I'm thinking maybe we can get Rick Moranis for this role. I know he's been retired since like the '90s, but yeah, I think it'd be a good role for him.
Yeah. I mean, just what we need to bring him back. Oh
God. Okay. So. Well, anyway, thanks everybody for giving us a listen. Hopefully you liked our reboots.
And the chances of Hollywood actually calling and saying, hey, we actually somehow stumbled upon your podcast, we really like these ideas, and we want you to make these movies, the chances of that happening are slim to none. So if you guys really liked it, let us know. Acomi will write the fan fiction for all of our ideas.
Oh yeah, totally.
And we'll post them on our website.
Yep, I'll get right on that. I'll start a Patreon for it. If you guys really need this to happen, just I'll hit you up with a Patreon. We'll swing it that way. Anyways, yeah. So be sure to check out.
This guy's name is Ray McAnally. That's the guy's name. His name is Ray McAnally. Wow. Just
Wow, okay.
Actually, that's not even his real name. He actually had his name changed. His first name was Ram.
Ram McAnally.
Ram McAnally.
Oh God. All right. Well, anyways, yeah. So catch you folks later.
Bye, everyone.
Did you hear what happened after
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.